Good evening, everybody. How's it going? Starting earlier than I originally scheduled this for. I'm sitting down here ready to chat. So instead of being late, I'm early. It's been a week or so. No chat this weekend. I was out of town. I believe Rasa was enjoying some camping time. Hopefully we'll be back this Sunday. We'll see how things go. But we'll be back for our regular chat. I can't remember whose channel we're on this week, so just subscribe to Rasa's as well. Do all that kind of stuff. I was in Vancouver for a few days for some work stuff. And I did have a little bit of time to kind of poke around. So I'll kind of show you some of that stuff. I wanted to talk first about, I put up a little short film, a little short on my channel there or whatever, with all the Post Brothers stuff. So that was through Capped Can Comics, who I discovered on eBay. Shout out to them. An amazing catalog of stuff. They had a boatload of Post Brothers that I didn't have. So I got, I don't know how many issues I ended up getting, 16 or something like that. It was a great deal. They're within Canada. I'd never heard of them before. I've actually found a couple of bigger comic sellers in Canada. Honestly, Cap Can, when I was looking at the listings, it's not like a Lone Star or anything, but the variety of books that he had available was pretty impressive. And from what it looked like, a little bit of digging around that I did, the prices seemed pretty reasonable. And again, the extra bonus for me is that it ships within Canada, so that shipping cost is way, way down. Do I have that on? Yes, I do. So the shipping cost is way, way down as opposed to getting stuff over the border. So that was a bonus. Maybe I'll do a talk about the stuff that I got in Vancouver at the end, or maybe it's a good place to start since I'm early. So I managed to make it to 2 shops when I was there. We got in on Thursday, had most of the day on Thursday. And then we had Sunday, some hours at the end of the day on Sunday, to kind of walk around a bit. My first day, I'm used to living in the prairies. It's very flat land. I'm not used to any sort of hill. I don't even know if I could recognize a hill. It just feels like the walls are closing in on you. So I for that first day, I really hit the road and I walked about, 20,000 steps that day. And I really did some damage to myself because I'm not used to walking that much. Look at this. Garage Geek, welcome. Nice to see you. It's good to catch that stream earlier. And I think you got a stream with Donald Rex tomorrow, if I am remembering right, or coming up right away, isn't it? So it was a great trip. There was a couple of shops. I managed to make it to Beat Street Records as well, to a record store, since you're here, Garage Geek. I didn't get anything. It's not easy bringing records back on the plane, but what an incredible shop. Really top notch. It was packed when I went in on the Sunday. I think Saturday was record store day, wasn't it? So it was still packed on Sunday. Just a lot of great selection. Even for me, into more of the kind of oddball electronic type music. They had some early electronic music like Morton Subotnick in there. I think I saw a Pierre Henry record in there. Saw some Moog records. So all that stuff is pretty fun for me, but a great jazz section, really, really solid shop. Definitely make it back there. The walks are closing in on you now. It's true. Yes. It was intense. I mean, it was a great walk. I found a great ramen place. So that day that I walked, I went to Lucky's and Golden Age Collectibles were the 2 places that were recommended to me that were kind of in the area of where we were staying. Lucky's Comics is solely focused on independent and kind of smaller press stuff. They had a little section for local artists as well too, which was really great. Super nice guy, not a big shop at all. Nothing in the way of back issues. They had a nice kids section and young readers section up front, and then kind of the back half of the store was where everything else was. They also sold just some prose books as well too. Who needs all those damn words, I say. So I passed those over, scoffed at him, you might say, and picked up a few really great things. And the stuff that I picked up, especially one of them I've wanted for a long time. It's just so nice to be able to walk into a place and see some of these more independent and small press books and have them at your fingertips. Living in the middle of the prairies here, it's just not easy to get a lot of that stuff. So it's really nice to kind of have a local shop. So it was great to kind of support them. I did end up getting a tote bag as well too. They had 2 different versions. So I just got one of them. So this one seemed fitting since it had the storefront on it. So shout out to Lucky's Comics. From Lucky's Comics, I managed to grab something I've wanted for a long time. I know that there's a new one out as well for 2024. The Comics Journal Yearbook Best of 2023. Interviews, essays, excerpts, and more. Austin English is at the helm of this. Austin English from Domino Comics. And then I see Colin Blanchett's name here in the back, our good friend Colin. So shout out to Colin if you're watching. I've wanted this for a long time. It's exactly what it is, a best of 2023, a variety of artists and comics people writing. It's a goddamn thick issue. Banu Pratap does the cover there. Yeah, I've wanted it for a while. It wasn't easy to grab. One of those things that I was going to try to grab from Domino at one point, but I think they might have sold out pretty quickly. I've started poking through here. I read the Dan Clowes piece at the end. Austin English writes about the book Monica that came out in 2023. So there's kind of the first list there of who's in it. And then, yeah, just articles and art excerpts from each of the year's best. So this will be a lot of fun to poke through, go nicely with the Comics Journal collection there. So that was great to kind of have that sitting on the sitting right out front for me. Where the heck did I put this? How about over there? The one that I got from a local artist. The local artist's name is Oliver Arthur, and it's a little mini called For Alfred. And it's a little bootleg satire of Batman. So Batman attends Alfred's funeral, and he's looking for a shoulder to cry on. He's howling at the moon with grief. He's just absolutely miserable. Superman steps in and says, "Come on, bud. I'll help you out. Let's go out on the town. Let's take you to Hooters." So they end up kind of spending time together. They end up going on a trip together, and in a beautiful couple of scenes, falling madly in love with each other. So Bruce Wayne is able to fill the hole in his heart that Alfred has left with his new partner for life, Superman, aka Clark Kent. So great. I love this kind of stuff. I love these little independent kind of zines. And like I said, they had a few copies of this one specifically, but they had a bunch of other artists in this little section that I believe was set aside for local artists, which is always a great idea. Chatting with some people online and just talking about, like, it's a common occurrence in a lot of places when it comes to when I was when I was in bands and stuff and really into music. You'd often find a section in the record stores where it's like local artists. For some reason, that doesn't seem to happen as much with comics. Yeah, I don't know what it is. I guess shelf space at a comic shop is pretty limited. A lot of shops, I imagine, they don't want to carry stuff that that's just going to sit on the shelf and not move and not sell. Video Homicide, is that his channel name? He was talking about it. And it's really great to see the shops that kind of set aside some space for independent artists. 204 Comics here in town does the same thing. That's cool. Evening. Oh, hello, Damien. Funny but poignant. Oh, took a turn. Makes me think of Henry and Glenn. Have you seen that one? I've seen it. I've never read it. It's a pretty infamous book, though, that Henry and Glenn Forever. Henry Rollins and Glenn Danzig. uh, in a relationship together. It's pretty great. I got a book from my daughter as well too, from Flying Eye, which is a kind of sub imprint from No Brow Press out of the UK. I don't have it down here though, but kind of a mystery, paranormal type of thing. Mansion Press, another place that I'm really digging. Mansion Press did all that other bootleg Batman stuff. So this is Josh Simmons with his book called House. I've started reading this, but I haven't made it all the way through. Incredible stuff. He's got a real good sense of design. It starts like, this is how the book starts off. And then this is kind of where we end by the time you get to the back. So it's about this trio of kids that go exploring abandoned places. And that's kind of all I know at this point. But if it's Josh Simmons, you know that it probably ends horribly. But really, really incredible design, really incredible art. The whole package is gorgeous. And when he starts getting into this stuff, I really love it. And the inside is kind of, just the floorboards of an old house. So really nice stuff. And then a picture on the back there as well too. And then the final thing I got, which I think I was probably most excited about, one of the first things, happens to be Mansion Press as well. Wasn't a plan. If you've been watching the channel, you know that I'm a huge fan of Dave Cooper. I go out of my way to get Dave Cooper stuff. I finally managed to get myself a copy of his newest work called Doghead Comics. It's a flip book. It has 2 different stories in it. This one I did read. I loved it. I loved this story the best. There's a tale here about an architect that has kind of this he's following, I'm assuming he's followed a guy online who is kind of doing some building on his property, and he's trying to kind of grow these, he's trying to create these buildings that eventually will become part of the landscape and grow on their own. So he's asked our main architect character to come into town and contribute to his work. As you can see, his style is gorgeous in this. He's got a very unique line. He always has. This is this 2023 or 2024? 2023 is when this came out. First printing 2024. So created in 2023. He has a write-up in here too where he talks about the time he spent away from comics. Oh, Dan Elsen's in the house. Hello, Dan. I'll get to your comments there in a minute. He was at a point in his life where he was giving up comics and he was working in animation is what he was doing. And he found that after a while, because he was very, very much against ever doing comics again, is the impression that I get. So he decides to he's starting to get these ideas. There's the look at the structure that he's going to be kind of contributing to. It says it's part 1 of 6 as well too. So he does have plans for more. He started writing down these little nuggets of ideas. And before he knew it, he kind of had some stories together specifically 2 stories together. And then once he started getting into it, he found it kind of just took over his life. He was absolutely loving the creative process. He was loving the writing process and everything. So he kind of dove headlong into this. But like I said, I haven't followed lately to see if there's a Doghead number 2. I don't know if it's a project that he finished and is now releasing. This is very much a Dave Cooper. He did this pig, goat, banana, chicken, or whatever it was with Johnny Ryan. It was a cartoon. I think that's what it was called, something like that anyway. But that's very much the Dave Cooper style that I think we all know that he's grown into, or those of us who are aware of his comics anyway. So beautiful, oversized, soft cover from Mansion Press. So this was a stellar pickup. That was the first thing I read as soon as I got back to the hotel. I dug into that one right away. A blue wrencher. Yeah, he is a blue wrencher. They ran out of purple purple wenches even. House looks so intriguing. Back cover is creepy. That's my word of the day. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Dan Elsen in the room. That's cool. They carry Mansion Press. I've ordered from them online, including Doghead and a bunch of Johnny Ryan. Yeah. Wow, you're showing some great stuff. Thank you, Garage Geek. Glad you dig it. Mansion seems to put out some real top quality books. I mean, it feels like their name pops up for me more and more. I don't think I've looked at the website for quite a long time, so maybe it's time that I dig right back into it. They sent me a bunch of prints, bookmarks, etc. with my order, which was a nice bonus. Yeah, amazing. We're going to get to this in front of me in one sec. The last couple things that I picked up, I went to Golden Age Collectibles. Shout out to Eliza Dominelli, who tunes in. She's out west. I believe she's in Vancouver. She recommended I go and check them out and go at the back. They've got kind of a display case with a bunch of slabs in it. They've got some back issues there, but then they've got a ton of boxes behind the shelf, or behind the counter rather. Random DC stuff, random Marvel stuff, Golden Age stuff. And they had one box of Underground comics. So, of course, she suggested I go and look through the Underground comics. That's where I might have the most luck. Unfortunately, it was only one box, but it was still it still yielded some results, including I just bought 3 books from them. Young Lust issue number 4. Is this Print Mint? Yeah, from Print Mint. I've got a number of these issues. I don't think I'm missing that many anymore. Nice to see. Shout out to Chicho, who's also in Victoria, I believe. He was showing some comic hauls on one of his most recent videos, or live streams rather, and he pointed out something I'd never seen before, and I'm wondering if maybe the comics that he bought were from the same place. Putting the backing board in the middle of the comic. I've never seen anybody do that. I don't quite understand. Is there an idea that it somehow makes the whole thing more secure? Is it worrying about the spine? Oh, dude, look at this. Is it worrying about the spine? Look at the colors on this one. There's also some dirty images. Welcome to the Comic Crack channel. We don't censor here. You see PP. Yeah, so I don't know what the idea is. The coloring in this is incredible. I haven't actually looked through this one, as you can tell. Really, really nice stuff. So an Underground anthology, I think from the, I'm going to say 74. Look at that, 1974. Young Lust number 4. Bill Griffith, Jay Kenny, et al. So a bunch of other people with them, but I think it was mainly Kinney and Griffith in this one. So that's a really nice score, but I do not understand the backing board in the middle of the book, so that is not going to happen for me. Let's just put this aside instead of messing around with that. A series that I, again, have a few issues of, but it's hard to fill in the gaps. Bijou Funnies, issue number 3. Skip Williamson, I think, was kind of at the helm of this one. Bob Clean is in here. Connie Linguis, of course, not true. Sorry, so Bob Clean obviously isn't the name, because Sammy Smoot is the character that he created. Nard and Pat are in here as well too. So I think this is probably about the same time period, 74-ish. No notes on the back there, so a nice one. And then finally, from Golden Age, there's shout out to Golden Age Collectibles right there. They have a goddamn stamp. You gotta love a store with stamps. Finally, have my hands on Bizarre Sex, issue number 1 from Dennis Kitchen and Friends. It's a hard one to find, if you know what I'm saying. It's just one that you don't find too often. I think this is like printing number 7 or something like that. It's got a $2 price tag on it, but it's absolutely not a first printing. But there we go. Bizarre Sex. Let's catch up here. Look, there we go. Eliza's here. Well, I generally buy most of his Undergrounds. Yes, I imagine that you do. I think so. You can see the art in the back. Thanks, Dan. supports the book better, and also people can see the back. I mean, I guess I see that. Yes, that does make sense. Not usually a wall book. So that was the Vancouver trip. I'm glad I managed to hit both of those shops. I wish I had more time. I know that there's a bunch of other shops in town. I've been to a couple of them before, many, many years ago, probably 7 years ago. We were staying at a different hotel in a different part of the city, pardon me, and hit a couple of different shops. I don't remember what the heck they were. I may have a video on it somewhere in the archives. Maybe I'll do a dig and see if I can find it. So what do we got in front of me? I've got a gigantic box from Dan Elsen, who's in the room. Dan has been watching for quite a while. I think he mentioned that since the original or last year's April 1st video about everybody's comic soulmate, Ed Piskor, passing away, I think is when he said he discovered my channel. He was a big kayfabe fan as well, and nice, super nice guy, has always nice things to say about anything he's watched on my channel. I think at this point, he really has dug through the majority of the archives of my videos. So I'm really, really glad that he's found some channel that he can kind of get behind and enjoy. It's a good feeling. It's nice doing this anyway, even if there are only a few people that kind of subscribe. I enjoy doing this, which is why I've been doing it so long. I would do it anyway, but I'd be lying if I said that I don't enjoy hearing from people who actually dig the content and interact and stuff. So very appreciative to anybody who watches the videos at any point in time. He was kind enough to bug me a couple of times to get in touch with them so I could send him my address so he could put together some stuff for me. He had a list of doubles from me, or sorry, that he sent me, because he said, you know, considering the stuff that I do buy and the amount of comics that I have, he didn't want to send me stuff I already had. So I, of course, looked through the list and picked a bunch of stuff. At this point, fucked if I remember what it is, to be honest. He said he was going to throw in some extra stuff in here too. Dan plays music as well too, in a few bands. One of the kind of surprise moments for us, I think I'd seen Bellwitch maybe the night before and was wearing the shirt. And Dan chimed in talking about how I think it was the drummer that he sort of knows. So we talked a little bit about music. I'm a big doom and kind of gloom metal fan and stuff, doom metal, heavy metal. So I think some of the stuff he sent me is kind of in that genre. So, but we're going to find out. I've cut everything open. I have not looked. The only thing I've seen one yellow disc type object in here, and that's all I've seen. I'm going to toss that stuff down there. So thank you very much to Dan. I really, really appreciate it. This is probably the biggest care package I think I've ever received. And I was telling him that I've got a list of doubles as well. Holy shit nuts. Jesus. I've got a box of doubles as well that, or not a box. I've got a small stack. I'm looking at a box and saying box. Holy fucking Moses, man. I'm going to put a list together for him as well too, and kind of return the favor. It was hard to find a box big enough for the comics and the vinyl. Yeah, he did say he was going to be sending some records, people. So first of all, a Shadow Limb Frisbee. This is what I did see when I kind of was ripping off the sides of this so we could kind of have this propped up. Beautiful. That'll be great. Let's see. He did say, oh, I mean, it's right on the top here, Dan. So I'm going to start with this one. Oh, snap. Nate McDonough, long boxes. Shit, dude. Oh, dude. Okay, hold on. Slow down there, T. Fuller. Slow down. So, like I said, I haven't looked through any of this. He said he was going to throw in some words as well, too. So let's check this out. Hey, Terrence, hope this all made it to you safely. Once again, I want to thank you for all the entertainment you have provided me for over a year now, ever since I finally found your channel, and for being a genuinely good dude and kind to me in the live chats. I'm glad to pass along some doubles, some of my band's merch, and a few other goodies. I've included a few notes in the package. The first one here pertaining to the graphic novel that I was instructed by the creator, another online buddy of mine, to pass on to someone who would hopefully enjoy it. So here you go. Let's open this up first before we start talking about it. Dude, amazing. So, you know, Nate, and Nate passed this on to you. Oh, dude. Jeez. Grixley. I mean, hold on, everybody. This is insane. Yeah, this is fucking fantastic. I'm going to slow down here a bit before I get too excited. So let's look at this first. So I'm aware of his art, and I'm looking John Minerich back cover illustration. I recognize him too. I don't recognize the name, but I recognize the art. Is this the guy who calls himself Grixley as well? Because that looks familiar. Wow. I see. So maybe I'm finally catching up. Maybe they are the same person. So this is Long Boxes by Nate McDonough. So Nate McDonough is possibly Grixley. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to start reading the letter again. This looks really, really great. 2024 first printing. Who put this out? This is put together real well. Originally presented in Grixley, number 50 through 68. Okay. So this is stuff that originally appeared in his mini comics that he's collected into one book. Yeah, I'm very excited about this. This looks fantastic. I really dig this a lot. So let's read what Dan said about this one. Man, I'm going to run out of so much room here. I believe you know who Nate is. You at least mentioned him in a recent video where you showed a zine called American Nature Presents. Yes, that he did a review or column in. Nate is a creator of Grixley mini comics, of which he's up to 68 issues. I actually found out about Nate from Cartoonist Kayfabe. That must be where I found out about him too, Dan. That was another good thing that, of course, all of us know about the Kayfabe channel. The amount of books that they turned me on to was amazing. And I loved when they would get packages early on in their videos, when they would kind of do, not regular, but they would go through packages of comics that people sent them. And there was a lot of kind of artists that were sending them their own books, sending them their first book. So that was a really great way to find a bunch of people on social media and to follow some new cartoonists. I actually found out about Nate from Cartoonist Kayfabe when they did a bootleg comics episode a long time ago. They showed off his Pit bootleg comic, of which I managed to snag a copy from Nate, even though they were long sold out. He found a copy at his uncle's house, who I guess had passed away, and Nate also gifted me a bunch of the original pages from that bootleg. Dude, that's fucking spectacular. I started buying his Grixley mini comics from his site and struck up a bit of an online relationship with him. As many do, he stated a Patreon, and it's the only one I'm actually subscribed to, so I get copies of everything he releases, as well as a free original commission once a year. I've managed to get every copy of Grixley from the late 20s till current. He was totally sold out of the early issues, as well as a bunch of graphic novels he self-published. He lived in Pittsburgh until just recently and knew Jim and Ed. And when I met him, he was just starting to sell comics he'd buy from quarter/50-cent/dollar boxes on eBay as a way to make some extra cash. Bought a lot of comics from him, and he'd help me track down stuff I was looking for. And he always gave me great deals and threw in extra shit for free. Eventually, his eBay store became his career. He quit his day job and started selling comics on eBay as a full-time job, which means typical day at work consists of driving to other towns or around Pittsburgh to dig for comics at stores, conventions, private sellers, collections, etc. I mean, that's the part of being in the comics game to that degree that must be really difficult. I imagine, like, when you have a storefront, I'm sure you get more people coming to you, but especially those early days. And honestly, even when you continue into it, like, that stock is crucial. So the amount of time that you have to spend and hunting down collections and traveling, like he's saying, traveling to other towns. Grixley is a pretty fun mini, always done in 9-panel grids with no panel borders, and are mostly auto-bio or just humorous things about life. At some point, he realized he had a lot of comical, interesting, or crazy stories. about things he experienced while at work digging for comics and selling them on eBay. So he created a recurring segment in his Grixley issues called Long Boxes, where he'd tell these stories. They're pretty funny and include familiar faces and places for us kayfabers, including Bill Boychelle of Copacetic Comics, who became Nate's mentor of sorts. Most times, these Long Boxes strips would be just a few pages in an issue, but as he picked up steam, sometimes he'd have entire issues of Grixley dedicated to Long Boxes. He recently collected them all into this graphic novel. Where did I put it? Over here. And gave me a second copy to pass along to a friend. So here you go. Beautiful. And just to show the cover there again. Oh, and if you want to check out his eBay store, his seller handle is Holiday Comics. So for anybody who wants to check out what he's got up on eBay, look for the seller Holiday Comics. But I'll warn you that he's moved up from selling mostly hip indie books into selling higher price Marvel DC stuff, which is, I think, the other part of that world that you just cannot avoid. If you want to make some money, or if you're looking to kind of continue buying collections, I'm sure you just need to get into that world at some point, right? He still does represent the good shit, Rick Veitch and the like, and even has 2 issues of Razor Guts up for sale right now, because I told him he needed to track it down and read it. I'm missing 1 issue of Razor Guts. I can't remember which issue. When going through my boxes, I also found I had some doubles of 4 issues of Grixley, as well as some other bootleg comics he did, a Wolverine one and a Silver Surfer one, as well as a special magazine-sized colored Grixley special called Click Clack. I've hooked you up with these rare doubles as well. Shit, yeah, man. So let's have a look at the rest of this stuff. I'm going to keep that note in there. So this is Grixley number 59 written backwards, but it's also got the Watcher on the front with What If. Pretty great looking cover there. And then on the back, Spirits of Venom, Web of Spider-Man. Yeah, so as he stated, just black and white interiors, 9-panel borderless grid. Pardon me. Great, like heavy kind of cardstock cover. I love it so much. Grixley number 60. Oh, dude, that's great. I love Pee Wee Herman, one of my favorites. So that's a really great picture there. There's that cover. This is issue number 62. Nice back cover. The enemy of my enemy is now my boyfriend. There you go. And then issue number 61. This one, yeah, $20 work. Sure, yeah. Hero of the Beach. How I feel scrolling through Nate McDonough's Instagram to find the long boxes where young Nate realizes that his weenie is exposed while Mysterious Ways by U2 plays in the background. It's the back cover of that one. Those are great. I'm looking forward to digging into that. I will absolutely have to check him out as a seller as well. Super cool. 59. There we go. He was kind enough to say he was going to send me some merch, one of them being a t-shirt, because I am a bigger gentleman. I usually do double XL. He didn't have any double XL, so he sent me an XL that I could probably pass on to my son. You're going to have to help me with that one, that name there. Dude, that's really great. Who's the artist that did your, I'm assuming this is your band here, Dan. I don't see a note attached to it, so fill us in the chat there. Very, very cool cover. Yeah, who's the artist on that one that did your shirt? Thank you very much. Let's put that up here. A lot of recent Grixley back covers seem to be taken from the commissions he's done for his Patreon members. Okay, cool. Did a Patreon Pee Wee Herman. I need to check out his Patreon, clearly. Okay, here's some music. Let's check this out before we get into... Ooh, before we get into more comics. I'm going to open this up. Gosh. A beer koozie, cozy, whatever. Yes. For my beverages sitting out by the fire in the backyard, that's going to be great. We got some tapes as well, too. La Fin du Monde, some cassettes. The King is Dead, Shadow Limb. Here you go. So this is your project, right? Shadow Limb. Am I correct in that? Shadow. Oh, I love stickers. Good work on the stickers. The tape deck is just up there as well, too. So I've kind of did a change around to some of the spaces here. So I can have that. And then Shadow Limb stickers there. A CD, yes. 8 tracks. I think you can also find him on Bandcamp. Yes. seeingredrecords.bandcamp.com. Fin du Monde as well. 2005, some older stuff. I'll read the note in 1 second here and we'll get some info. And then a limited edition Fin du Monde as well. Embers. Number 198 of 200. Some info about his bands. First band was called Phoenix Down, an alternative experimental 5-piece rock band. We lasted 6 years from 97 to 2003, and we recorded 1 full-length album, The Skeleton Party. And although I think it was a good band, I chose not to include that CD here. Honestly, I feel you on that. I recently found a demo of a band that I was in, and I think we recorded it in 95 or 96. I haven't listened to it in a long time. I had some fond memories of the music we played. I listened to it, and it was awful. So it's something that I think I've got an extra copy of it somewhere on cassette. I just don't know where. I think it's one of those things for me too, Dan. Same kind of thing. I would not be enclosing that tape with anybody's package of goodies. When Phoenix Down broke up, at the same time, our best friend's band, Allergy, broke up. 5 remaining dudes, myself, the main guitarist and bassist from Phoenix Down, as well as 2 dudes from Allergy, formed my second band, La Fin du Monde, in late 2003. La Fin featured 2 guitarists, 2 bassists, and myself on drums. 2 fucking bassists. After 9 months and 1 home recorded album that never came out until our final show 9 years later, the guitarist from Allergy left and replaced him with Chris, and this became the lineup that would last from 2004 to 2012. Holy smokes, man. La Fin du Monde was an instrumental, progressive, experimental rock band with influence such as Tortoise, Amazing, Tool, King Crimson, The Cure, etc. You got me on Tortoise for sure right out of the bat. My brother was a huge fan of Tortoise. We released a self-titled 3-track EP on CD in 2005, included in this box, although we were still young, as this was recorded by some college students, so it's kind of rough. A full-length album called Life as It Should Be in 2007, and another 5-track album called Monolith in 2009, both of which were recorded at the amazing Prairie Sun recording in Cotati, California. Around 2010, our friend Brandon Squires, side note, you should check out his band Amarok, Cold Blue Mountain, and his old band The Mackay, which features our homie Jesse on drums, who went on to join Bellwitch. Oh, there you go. Started a cassette label and chose LFDM to be his first release. So we reissued our 2 albums collected together on 1 self-titled cassette, included for you here, the very last copy we had. Sweet. The first 5 tracks on side A are a Monolith, and the rest is Life as It Should Be, minus 1 loop song we had to cut off for room. Our final album, probably the CD I'm most proud of out of everything I've recorded, is Embers. So that's this one here, which I've included. It was our first time recording with legendary producer Tim Green at Louder Studios in Grass Valley, California. And we did this one all analog, recording to 2-inch tape and mixing down to 1/2-inch tape. Amazing. Let's pop this one open for a sec here. I'm glad that I fixed the CD player recently, Dan. I think I might have talked about it on a stream. It was making some god-awful noises, and it wasn't reading CDs when I put them in. So I managed to find a video on how to disassemble and kind of troubleshoot that exact 5-disc player. So I managed to get it going again. I'm going to put this there. Yeah, sweet. I'm really looking forward to hearing this, especially, I mean, I'll probably start with this one, the one that you said you're most proud of. Yeah, nice. Some photos inside. Very cool. Someone wearing a Dio shirt. I mean, I'm assuming that's you on drums there, Mr. Elsen. Yeah, amazing. Cool. Yeah, I'm going to throw this one on for sure. I'm unfortunately, it's kind of good and bad. Unfortunately, I'm still off of work. There's still nothing going on yet. I do have to work around the house tomorrow, but I will be around, so this stuff will get played as I'm yelling at emails and typing things 5 times. Let's put that back in there. Sweet, Dan. I'm going to keep going here, Dan. I will read all of the letter that you sent, but I'm going to keep going because I am eager to get to the comics here. But I will absolutely read the rest of this one because this is a couple of pages, this one. So I want to make sure I'm not skipping through anything. Let's see. Le Fin du Monde was my old band. Some members of Shadow Limb. Not the coolest packaging, but Embers came out stellar. That's great. Are any of your concerts on YouTube, Dan? Yeah, I mean, make sure that you, there you go. Shadow Limb channel. Yeah, I hear that. Yes, I didn't see that, but I do see it now. Did I miss this one too? Shadow Limb is my band. This is the Snake Mountain shirt to go along with the song to a little He-Man homage. Cool. Yeah, so I won't continue with that one. We're going to get into some comics here because I am seeing a couple of things. Let's start with this one called Doubles because I think this is the one that I had a list and I see already a couple of things. So we were talking about Dave Cooper, and I do remember him saying that he had some doubles of this. I think this is the one that he had listed. Chronic Idiocy. Oh, so this is Caliber Press, number 3 of 3. This is a really difficult one to find. There's a few Dave Cooper comics that are not the easiest to get your hands on. This miniseries is one of them. And I'm not sure why. I feel like out of any of the companies, Caliber Press would have had wider reach than maybe the stuff he was doing for Aircell. But for some reason, and then there was the second issue of Puke and Explode, or the first issue. There's one issue of the 2 Puke and Explodes that's goddamn near impossible to find, and it took me forever to track it down. So what year do we have here? We've got 1991, so Dave Cooper style from 91. So if you think about that dog head I was showing at the beginning, you can see kind of the growth that he's made as an artist. I still think this stuff is really great. Crumb hated it in the documentary, Crumb, when he saw Puke and Explode on the shelf and picked it up and kind of scoffed at it. But I happen to love his style. It's also quite a thing to have yourself remembered in that way and part of a documentary. Let's prop that up there. Yes, he said he had an extra of this too. So Jim Rugg, True Crime Funnies, signed by Jim Rugg, unless that's there in the printing as well too. Oh yeah, no, autographed by Jim Rugg, first printing. There was a couple of these that Rugg would do that I always wanted to support, but out of all the online stuff, Jim had kind of, between you and me, Jim's prices were a little extreme. And then the shipping on his stuff was even more extreme to get it to Canada. So it did honestly stop me from picking stuff up directly from him. This is one that I think we ended up getting in at some of the comic shops locally, but I just never picked up a copy for myself. I really like his style. I think he's a really interesting mimic of an artist. He does have his own style for sure, but I think sometimes where he excels is drawing with different mediums, especially his ballpoint pen stuff is really great. He has this ability to kind of analyze these artists and get their essence when he goes down the road of mimicking other cartoonist styles. So this one looks fantastic. I'm not a huge wrestling guy, but I do like rug. So that's amazing. Thank you for that, Dan. Marvel Shadows and Light, starring Wolverine, Dracula. I can't remember if he was telling me something about this specific issue. This one did not have a note in it. I assume that everything is written on the note in the other bag, but this just happens to be the one that I pulled out first. Oh, Doctor Strange in this one, I think. Captain Marvel and Doctor Strange, possibly. Is that why? Yes. That's exactly why. Holy shit. That looks amazing. Let's flick to... So Michael Golden. This is Strange Reflections by Michael Golden with John Beatty, Al Milgrom, and Richard Starking's comic craft. So with Doctor Strange, this is Marvel Shadows and Light. I don't know. It doesn't have an issue number. I'll check inside in a minute. Dude, love the looks of this. I love the looks of this. I've never heard of this series. I'm assuming it was a series, a mini series, maxi series. How many issues of this came out? And Damien, have you ever seen this anywhere? Looks amazing. Look how great that looks. Rasa, if you're watching this at some point in the future, looks like one to add to your list to hunt down. Let's go to the front here and see. So this is volume 1, number 1 from 1997. Wolverine by Jean-Paul Leon, writer and artist. And then Dracula Into the Tomb. James Felder, writer, Ladron, penciler, and Juan Velasco, inker. And then Captain Marvel in Prisoners of the Red Ghost. Wilfred is the artist on that one, a name that I don't know. So beautiful black and white. So 4 stories in that one. Killer. There's not much live stuff of us online, sadly. If that changes, let us know. I've got most of our shows filmed. I just have terrible computer skills, but eventually I'll figure it out and start a channel devoted to live concerts. That would be great. That would be cool. I rely on YouTube to discover smaller bands through live show clips. I don't think I've seen it. Yeah, okay. Oh, dude. This is the thing about doing these videos live. I just want to kind of quickly flip through everything, but I'm going to stop myself. So a Vertigo title, 100-page spectacular shoot featuring John Constantine, Hellblazer, Ellis, Jimenez, Lanning, Boland, Azzarello, Ribic, Morrison, Quietly, Ennis, Lee, Siegel, Sale, Milligan, Riso, Willingham, Jones, Wrightson, and Bradstreet. A fucking who's who of Vertigo comics. So Resurrection or Resurrected number 1. This looks newer. Is this newer? No, 2010. Yeah, it says 2010. So not newer, a good 15 years old at this point, but chock full of great artists. It's in beautiful shape too here, Dan. Love it. I love getting Vertigo stuff. Talked about Vertigo many times on the channel. A company where no matter what you think you've read, just when you think you've read it all, guarantee there's some Vertigo out there that you've never read. And there are probably some really fun 90s indie stories. Very excited about this. This is another hard goddamn title to find, this Dead World from Caliber. Yeah, this is Caliber. I don't remember. Did this start at Caliber? I feel like it maybe started somewhere else and moved to Caliber. Just a kind of infamous zombie comic that I do hear people talking about. I do have a couple of issues, not very many, But like I said, it's really tough to find. I think it's one of those that when people see it in the bins, because it's horror and zombie related, especially around here, there seems to be quite a lot of people who really dig horror books here. Holy shit, we're already, is that 50 minutes in? Jesus. I'm going to pick up the pace a tiny bit here. But that looks great. Was just talking about him showing off the Post Brothers stuff yesterday in that short. Some more Matt Howarth. Is that the whole thing? Some Savage Henry from Matt Howarth. Let's open this one up. So there was a bunch of different... Oh, yeah, there's more here, too. Oh, buddy, you're killing me. Dan, see, this is the other good thing about having a shitty memory. There's a bunch of Savage Henry miniseries out there. Ripoff Press did some. Iconographics did some here. So this is the 3-issue mini called Headstrong. So that's all of them. So Savage Henry and the Bulldaggers, it's the name of the band. They're in the Post Brothers Bugtown universe. Conrad Schnitzler plays with them, and Cthulhu plays with them. I think one of the Carolines plays as well too. But Savage Henry is kind of the main character in this. Very, very exciting. This stuff is another piece of Matt Howarth history, or Matt Howarth work rather, that's pretty goddamn difficult to find. So that's a beautiful score there, Dan. I have so much Matt Howarth to catch up on now. And then this is Iconographics as well. So I think the longest run was from Ripoff Press. I don't remember if that started at Iconographics and moved to Ripoff, or if it was the other way around. But I feel like it probably started at Iconographics, because this is issue number 2. And then we have some more. Yeah, and these ones say Ripoff Press at the top here. Let's see what we got. 17, 18. Yeah. So this is from that longer run, though. So there's issue number 17. And issue number 18. So there's Cthulhu on the back cover there. Number 27. Also, I so remember this ad. This is an ad, part of me that's really seared into my memory as well, of Ripoff Press. Just an iconic image. I feel like when I was a young squirt, I was this chimp that the guy behind the counter was handing over the box of dirty comics to, because you always had to ask. So that was the other nice thing about going into Golden Age collectibles. It's been a long time since I've had to ask someone to take the box of underground comics from behind the counter so I could have a look at them. Shoot Prince the Warren Ellis issue that they originally didn't publish due to the subject matter. Oh, shit. Okay, great. So there's some more Savage goddamn Henry. How can you say no to Mirage Studios Prime Slime Tales? This one I have pretty specific memories about from when I was young. I do remember my friends getting into Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and I was one of those guys that really jumped on the bandwagon when it came to geriatric gangrene, jujitsu gerbils, kung fu kangaroos, all of those kind of things. And Prime Slime Tales, I loved the look of this book. This may be the point where my taste for this style of art blossomed from. First of all, that cover is exceptional. And I will also say that most of the comics I had from back then that were like this, I unfortunately got rid of a long time ago, and I've always regretted it. And I don't see these around. The only issue that I do see around is issue number 2. Issue number 1 is impossible to find out here, but that is great looking stuff. So this is 1986 Tony Basilicato. I'm sure that this was something that solidified this kind of love for this kind of black and white independent comic that follows me to this day. So this is a great gift, Dan. I love this so much. Issue number 2. And of course, it also doesn't hurt that there's boobs as well. So, and then issue number 3 of Prime Slime. Yeah, this moved to Now. Yeah, Now Comics. So the first 2 were Mirage Studios, and then it went to Now Comics. Let's put that there. Some issues of Ghost Rider. I don't remember. Did these have some Corbin in them, maybe? Let's pull these out to remind myself. Put that down there. Issue number 15, Way, Salteras, Texiera, and Brown. Yeah. I don't remember. It looks good. I don't remember. I thought maybe that these Ghost Rider had some Corbin in them, but obviously not. Cool. I don't know anything about Ghost Rider other than he's a flaming skull on a motorcycle. That's all that I know about the character. So I'm very curious to read this. So this is Corbin. Issue number 6 has Corbin. There we go. Even Corbin on the cover, I think there, right? Yes. And again, not easy to find this Corbin Ghost Rider stuff. It's not easy for me to find the Corbin banner. I was able to finally get that Cage, that miniseries that he did, but other Corbin stuff, oh, look at that. Other Corbin stuff from these other Marvel titles that he did aren't as easy to get your hands on. That's a really great image. Just classic. It's so wild to see classic Corbin that would really live in his Fantigore stuff. Or in some undergrounds in like a Marvel comic. Really enjoyable. It's again, one of the things I do enjoy about Marvel of certain eras. They did give some oddball artists that I don't think would normally find a home naturally in mainstream comics. I would say that Corbin's a little closer to one of those guys that easily found his way into mainstream and was really loved, but I don't think that's a normal occurrence. They seem to give a lot of people chances. Oof. Okay, not looking ahead. Not cheating. Next bag. This one has got a note as well, too. Okay, let's check this one out. So I had to throw in a few extra things. Don't know what you'll think of them, but although the vast majority of comics I read fall in the indie category, I still enjoy some Marvel and DC. Nothing really current, however, and my favorite 2 characters of all time from these companies are Jonah Hex and the Punisher. The first Jonah Hex I ever read was the 5-issue Vertigo series Two Gun Mojo by Joe Lansdale and Tim Truman. I included issues 2 to 5 here for you, and I'm certain you can track down number 1 easily at one of your own shops, even though I have a feeling you already have this. I do already have this. There was two Jonah Hex miniseries that Lansdale did with Truman. Worm, something, was it Bloodworm or something like that? So I do have these. I'm not 100% sure that I have every issue from this Two Gun Mojo run, though, to be honest. So that's great because that cover is not ringing a bell for me at all. So maybe I am missing that one. But either way, stuff like this, I agree with you. Stuff like this is great to kind of pick up, to pass on to people, because this is quality stuff here. This is far different in tone and style from the old 70s, 80s Jonah Hex, but something about it is almost addictive in nature. This team did 2 other follow-up miniseries from Vertigo in the 90s. I also threw in a handful of doubles I had of the old Jonah Hex series. I know this isn't groundbreaking westerns like Blueberry or anything, but this series, along with The Punisher, are my ultimate escape comics. The kind of shit I can read and feel like all is right with the world. Simple stories, competent artwork, and a formula that kind of repeats itself to an almost lullabying degree. Jonah Hex is the best, simplest, coolest, simplest concept ever. He's a bounty hunter who kills Al who kills owl hoots for money, but is more often sidetracked dispatching various outlaws that try to kill him first due to his reputation, and has a genuine care for good, so he helps people in need. The Punisher is not a comic I've ever heard you mention, so I'm sure you're familiar and just don't like it. I've read the stuff that I love from Punisher. Honestly, I really remember enjoying the Franken Punisher, the series that Rick Remender did. I've dipped my toes into Punisher War Journal probably in 2000-ish. It was when I was living in Ontario and getting back into comics again in a really big way. The No Man's Land stuff was going on in the DC universe because that was on my pull list. And I remember going to a comic shop and they had a shit ton of Punisher stuff for, I think it was like 25 cents a book, 50 cents a book, something like that. And I bought stacks of them. So I did read quite a bit of Punisher stuff. But you're right, like as enjoyable as it was when I was reading it, I was having fun. I think there was also a big part of just excitement for me getting back into comics at that time. And while I did kind of enjoy reading them, when I started culling down the collection and kind of starting to get rid of stuff when we were moving, it's just some stuff that didn't last for me. I think I ended up trading it in at a different shop years later and getting more in trade credit than I did when I originally bought the books used. So that was kind of an extra bonus. But my favorite writer of all time is Garth Ennis. I do as well like Garth Ennis, and he actually did some truly amazing things with the character. I included the first issue of a 4-issue series called Born. Oh, great. Which is Ennis telling about Frank Castle's time in Vietnam. See, that right away sounds a lot more interesting. And the events that would sow the seeds that would eventually create the Punisher. If you dig this issue, there are at least 4 miniseries Ennis has done about Frank's time in Vietnam. An incredible series he did about Nick Fury in Nam. And if you ever get the inkling to try more, Ennis's Punisher Max run is just about my favorite comics of all time. Well, I mean, I'll say this. I'm really curious to try some of this out. And honestly, I'm pretty damn excited. Oh, I have seen this cover. I'm pretty damn excited about this older Jonah Hex as well, too. Like Rasa, I am a fan of Westerns, grittier Westerns. I'm a huge fan of spaghetti Westerns, and that mainly comes from watching a lot of them with my dad. He was living in Italy at a time where some of these spaghetti Westerns were coming out. I think he might have seen Django in the theater when it came out. I think it's been a long time since he's told me about that stuff or that we've talked about spaghetti Westerns. But that said, though, Jonah Hex is a character that I've always been interested in. And every time I see some Jonah Hex comics, I end up checking them out. I just have never bought any of this stuff. So I'm really curious to see. I love these covers already. Tony De Zuniga, is that the guy's name? Issue number 52, looks like with Batlash as well. Issue number 53, Jonah's guns can't save him at The Haunting. Pretty great. Damien, are you still around? Have you read much Jonah Hex? I don't remember. Issue number 55 there. This is a great cover. Issue 46. Yeah, Joe Kubert, of course. Yes. So, of course, it's a great cover. Look how fantastic that is. Really nice. 48. Another nice cover. Number 49. De Zuniga again. De Zuniga. I'm not sure how to pronounce it. Probably butchering it, but there you have it. And then that's the one that we saw already. Thought you'd already have them, but those doubles came from my recent 25-cent Bonanza score. Yes, for the previous Jonah Hex stuff. Tony DeZuniga was the best artist on that run, and the stories by Michael Fleischer were so fun. Great. I'm really looking forward to that. Don't do that. Put that in there. Those can go down there. Yes. So I have seen this cover before for sure. Yes, I will 100% give this a shot. The stuff from Warren Ellis that I have read, I have enjoyed. There's nothing that jumps out at me, but this looks really great too. And I'm assuming there's probably a real anti-war element to this, or at least to the character. He's come from somewhere. He's twisted for more reasons than just what the mob did to his family. So this is an intriguing idea. The Max line from Marvel. This looks like an older one here. Major Inapec in space, the space age. What a freaking cover, #1. This comic's from 1951. Yes, it's a double, and it is really pretty cool. First, it's created by a company called Inapec to promote their chocolate powdered food supplement, but the comic has nothing to do with this project designed for kids to mix into their milk. However, the inside front cover gives you a list of all the amazing results you get from drinking it, as well as comparing it to 6 of the world's greatest discoveries. Which is your favorite? Can you believe #6 is on there? I'll have a check in a second. But the comic is a fun sci-fi trip to the moon from 18 years before the moon landing, with really good art by Bob Powell and some seriously good coloring. Well, let's dig this one open. Yeah, you really gotta read all 4 issues of Born to get the full experience. I mean, I'm sure that I've seen it in the cheap bin, so I think I may just grab them all and sit and read the whole damn thing. 1951 Inapec. I mean, it even looks like a cross between detergent packaging and cigarette packaging. So there's the ad on the back there. I'll tell you what it doesn't look like. Chocolate mix. What was the world's greatest discovery? Which would you pick? Writing, wheel, electric bulb, flying television, and finally the atomic bomb as one of the world's greatest discoveries. Fucking hell, dude. Bizarre. I mean, that looks pretty good to me. I don't know much about this era of comics at all. I know that there's people like the name Bob Powell sounds familiar to me, but this kind of era, I am so ignorant on. I don't know anything about this stuff, but this looks great. This page, especially here, where we get into a bit of a fight scene with no borders. I love the look of that. Those colors are really sharp on there. Really feels like it stands out. Science sidelights. This is great, Dan. Thank you so much for this. Very curious about that. I'd say the atomic bomb is my favorite discovery. Forget all these other things. Let's put that over there. And let's dig. Oh, dude. Okay. Holy smokes, Dan. You went to... Oh, fuck. Oh, shit. I forgot about this. Oh, man. All right, everybody. Should we wait for that one? What should I do here? No, let's wait for that one. Let's keep going here. Get yourself a drink, everybody. Oh. Yes. Oh, fuck. Dan. Dude. What am I going to do here? Can I put this over here? Oh, fucking hell. See, I keep looking at things. Okay, let's do this. So he contacted me when we were communicating through email. He said he had a couple of Matt Howarth minis. One of them I already had. The other one I'd never heard of. And now that I'm seeing it, it's even more incredible than I thought. It's called The Mighty Virus. And it's signed by Howarth. And it's almost like Tijuana Bible style landscape. Fuck, dude, this is great. Yeah, I just hit the Virgil packages right. Exactly right. Yeah, I'm trying to slow down here a bit. Let's thoroughly enjoy this. I don't know this one at all. I don't remember seeing it listed. That's such a great cover. It's very, look at this back cover. What the fuck? It's so unusual. It almost feels like something AI created and then spit out. It also reminds me of a local artist, Pasternak, who does some kind of abstract and experimental comics. Dan, this is unreal. I don't know this at all. I'm incredibly excited about this. This art style is really throwing me for a loop. That is this actually Howarth, or is it just something he published by somebody else? There's elements of it that are 100% Howarth. What the fuck, man? I need to do some research on this one, Dan. What's the story? I'm assuming in that letter at some point it might mention some of these things as well too. Wow. Maybe I need to do another search on Howarth's website there to see what else he's got from this era. I imagine this is late 70s. Did it say on the back of it? It did not say. Wow. Wow. Insane. I'm not going to put that back in there because I'm worried about that tape actually grabbing onto that. That's beautiful. Another one, I can't believe. I mean, fucking Taboo, kitchen sink. Hard to find the last couple of issues that I need for it. The odd time that I do see Taboo here, first of all, there are issues that I already have, and the prices on them are pretty huge. Is Rolf in this one too? Rolf Stark. Dave Sim is in here. Alex Stevens. Tim Truman is in here. Rick Grimes. Mike Hoffman. Mark David Dietz. Phil Hester again. Stephen Bissett. Unfucking real. Issue number, did I say the issue number? 9. Issue number 9. Taboo is such a solid book. There's so many great contributors to this series, and it's a book that I feel like I don't hear enough people talking about it. Even all my years on YouTube, there may have been some times in passing that this series has been talked about, but I do feel like this is something that doesn't necessarily get the exposure, or I wonder how it's remembered. It was actually another guy who watched the channel who did want to rename nameless, had sent me some Taboo as well years and years ago. Unreal. That's so great. I think that almost finishes the run for me. They're behind me, and I can't really maneuver around here too easily. He had some undergrounds as well that I'm excited for. Human Drama from the print mint, $1 cover. So I'm assuming this is a bit of a later print. Was there a second issue of this one? Look at that cover. It's so great. Looks like Greg Irons on the back there. Looks like Trash Man's about to make an appearance on the scene and mow all these people down. So what do we got in here? 1978. So Spain Rodriguez, Mark Fisher, Leslie Carbarga, Alan Weiss, Roger Brand, Greg Irons, Howard Hopkirk, and Jim Maddow. Published by the Print Mint. So maybe this is a first printing, 1978. So, of course, Spain Rodriguez right off the front. one of the absolute legendary underground cartoonists by probably a long shot for me. I've always loved his style. It works every single time. Very, very unique to him. Yeah, beautiful stuff. And if you haven't seen the documentary on Spain Rodriguez, I can't remember what it's called off the top of my noggin, but do a search for that. I think it might be free online at this point. I don't know if I saw it on YouTube or if I downloaded it from somewhere. The Human Drama Killer. A great cover on this one here. Lonely Nights comics for adults only from Last Gasp. Stories to read when the couple next door is fucking too loud by Dori Seda. I don't know this book at all. The cover didn't sound familiar. The title didn't sound familiar. When I looked online, when he sent me the list, the cover didn't look familiar either. Everybody wants to know. I want you to know that Dory does not fuck her dog. So Dori Seda, I don't even know the name. Really great cover, great interiors. I'm excited about this one. This is a new discovery for me, Dan. Thank you so much for this one. Inside, Kinky Sex, The Mad Ravings of Joe O, Photo Funnies, and more. Here we go. Here's some Photo Funnies. Cool. I'll have to do some research on that one. The next one, S. Clay Wilson. Why am I blanking on his name? S. Clay Wilson coming up. Kingdom of Evil. We all know S. Clay Wilson, probably the most unhinged. That looks to be a first print. Oh, thanks, Eliza. Good. That mini wasn't a double, but something I knew you'd appreciate more than me. Yeah, the Howarth. It's beautiful. Do you know that previous one then there, Eliza? What's the story with Lonely Nights? If that Lonely is $2, then it's a first print. Let's see what it says. No, it says $2.95 on the front there, Eliza, unfortunately for that one. So not a first print. Wilson was a madman. His stuff is fucking out of control. And that's why I love him. Yeah. But his stuff was just this weird, sexual, disgusting, all over the map when he would appear in Zap and other places. Checkered Demon was one of his big characters, or the characters he's probably most well known. Oh, everybody dropped off. I hope I haven't frozen or the stream has dropped off, because all of a sudden viewers at 0. Another one that I've always been curious about. I have seen this one out there when I do run across undergrounds. It's just one that usually I don't pick up. The cover looks pretty neat, the Captain, but I don't know. Again, another one I don't know anything about. The print mint. Dr. Atomic. I think this I don't remember if I have one more issue from this run that I need, but just a really fun underground. It was one of the early ones that I discovered, Dr. Atomic, Meef, along with obviously the big ones like Zap Comics. But these were ones that I found early days. I think I've still got one that's it's almost falling apart. That's how kind of rough it was and how much I read it. And what else you got? That Kingdom of Evil book is savage, yes. Not much to say, but Dori Seda is incredible. A name I don't know. I will do some research. J. Michael Leonard's Fresh Blood funny book. Last Gasp Eco Funnies. Another one I've never heard of. I don't recognize the cover either, so that's cool. See some Silver Wolf here. Now I think we're getting into the Vigil stuff, aren't we? Yes. Dragon Quest, issues 1 and 2. Tim Vigil on the cover. Oh, fuck yes. 1987, is that what that says? I think that says 87. Let's pull out this first issue here. Dungeoneers ad on the back cover. His style is wild. Even in hindsight, like even being steeped in this world these days, there's still a lot that stands out from Vigil's work of this era. Even though he's firmly in that kind of black and white world, 1986, December 1986 is when this one came out. Even though he's firmly in that independent world, his stuff still stands out in a unique way. I can't quite put my finger on it. I think it's more, he feels like one of those artists that was much closer to someone who could work very well in kind of mainstream superhero stuff, but didn't really have that desire. Still very much had an indie spirit about him, even though his characters would very much fit in that world. This looks really great. I love this cover. That dragon is pretty amazing. But even when you look at kind of, let's just pull this one out as well. The shadow across the face, the hand, there's something about his line work that is very much his own. Feels like that you could pick him out of a lineup fairly easily. Exciting, very exciting. Dude, you went fucking bazonkers. This is so great. Oh, shit. Yes, yes. Oh, fuck. Okay. Settle down. So this is stuff that I heard about on Kayfabe. 100%. Chain Gang was nothing that I've heard of before. 100%. This was a Kayfabe kayfabe effect on this one. Rex Miller, Chain Gang. I think, was it a series of books as well too about this character that then got taken over to the comics world? Oh, dude, sick. And then this next one was kayfabe as well too. Dog. I'm sure that it was Jim showing this off in one of his kind of indie bin hunts. Rebel Studios. Let's see. Ridiculous cover, like a ridiculous cover. Who does that cover? It's just nuts. 1991. Joe Vigil. Yeah. That's insane. Very cool. Oh, forget about it. Love it. I absolutely love it. Gunfighters in Hell. I don't remember if I have an issue of this or if it just ended up on a list on my comic shop. Is this Vigil in these as well too? Yes, it is. Yeah, Vigil as well. Yeah, so Rebel Studios as well. I think there's sometimes where when I do these digs on my comic shop, especially if it's a company that is my first exposure to them, my comic shop does a really good job of separating that stuff out where you can click the name of the publisher and get everything that they have in stock or out of stock that they know of anyway from that publisher. So that's often how I'll end up. And I think Rebel Studios was one of them where I think I put a lot of stuff from Rebel Studios on my wish list. This looks fucking great. This is issue number 2 of 5, and it says, "Not for Young'uns." And then this is another issue from a series called Original Sins. Gunfighters in Hell again. Original Sin. I thought maybe Lansdale was involved in this, but I think I'm wrong about that. I feel like I have one of the issues, not any of these two that you've sent, but that I have one of them somewhere. How can you go wrong with Faust? I've got some of this stuff. I know that I have some gaps for sure, though. But this is bonkers, and Faust is kind of hit a resurgence. They were talking about doing, did it get optioned for a movie, or was it for an animated thing? I don't remember, but there was a lot of kind of hype about it again. Faust is one of those books, though, that even before that hype, it kind of has that level of infamy where you don't find these around very often. So this is a really nice addition to the collection, because I do have some of these, but I don't think any of this. So this is The Love of the Damned story arc, Quinn and Vigil. Oh, fuck. Beautiful. Really, really nice. Clean, but still that ridiculous 90s era kind of metallic look to everything. But really, really solid books. Let's put those back in there. So this next one, oh, I'm just going to show this one because another one I can't believe you sent to me, Dan. Again, with stuff that kind of gets away from me. This is a library book, X'd out, Charles Burns. One of those things, you just can't buy everything. So it's not that I don't like Charles Burns. Someone was asking when I did my kind of wrap up of the favorite books from last year, there was a surprise comment that, oh, you didn't, the new Charles Burns book didn't make your list. I'm sure it would have. I didn't read it. I didn't pick it up. Charles Burns is a fantastic artist, but again, you just can't find everything. You can't pick up everything. So very much looking forward to reading this one. Thanks for passing this along. I don't know anybody who's into kind of indie comics who would scoff at Burns. Great back cover too. Really, really nice collection there. Some more Grixley stuff here. Nate McDonough stuff. This is the stuff he was mentioning in the letter, the kind of parody books here. So Wolferini. Such a good cover. And then the Cosmic Surfer. Fantastic cover. Oh, yes. And then this Click Clack. Oh, dude. I just saw it. I totally forgot about this one. Let's come back to that one in 1 second. Fucking hell. Oh, my God. Nate, you're killing me, man. All right, no, let's just show it. Holy shit. My friends. Love and Rockets, issue number 1. $3.50 cover. I imagine this is not a first printing of issue number 1 of goddamn Love and Rockets from Fantagraphics. 1982. Second printing, yeah. Second printing says right in there. So good. I do have this stuff in the collected, but you have got to appreciate having the original magazine. Huge fan of Fantagraphics stuff. I love all of the magazine material from that era. Obviously, I wasn't getting this when it came out. I hadn't heard of, I hadn't tapped into Fantagraphics at that point. What year did I say? Yeah, 1982. There's no goddamn way. I would have been 9 years old. So there's no way this was on any sort of radar for me until later. So this is great. What a fucking score that is. I'm going to put that one right back into the bag and board. Missing issue of Prime Cuts, Words and Pictures. This is issue number 4. Sinner is in here. Another Fantagraphics magazine series. Again, another one I'm closing in on having all of them. I might only need an issue, maybe 2 at this point. Again, another anthology from Fantagraphics that's worth checking out. a book that I've heard of. He was a bit surprised that I didn't have this one. But again, the Tundra label on this book is what makes it difficult for me to find. I rarely see Tundra stuff out there. And I also think it's probably one of those companies, again, that when people see the label, they know that it's Turtles related. So I think it gets snatched up. This is Peter Milligan, Brendan McCarthy, and Carol Swain. Infamous book. I do know about it. I have never read it. So I'm very much looking forward to this. This is probably kind of very close to the top of the pile. What an interesting style. This to me is Brendan McCarthy. But this other stuff has a much different look than I would assume. So is it mixing up art duties? Colors by Carol Swain. Yeah, so shit. Oof, I don't want to do any spoilers there, so I'm going to turn from the back of the book, show a bit more of that. Looks great. Was this something that came out in one of the UK mags first before Tundra kind of put it together? Was this something from like the Warrior of the era, something along those lines, or was it specifically a standalone that he did? Not much to say, blah, blah, blah. Have you read any Joe Vigil? That comic dog is going to blow you away, but good luck finding issues 2 and 3. Shit. I don't think I have read any Joe Vigil. That's shitty to know. You got to fold out that cover. Oh, which one, Dan? Yeah, I have the Love and Rockets collections and only own the singles of issue 1 and 2, and somehow amazingly had doubles of number 1. Was it the Love and Rockets that I have to fold out there, Dan? Did I miss a fold out? Oh, it must have been something else that you're referencing there, Dan. Let me know. Oh, Gunfighters in Hell folds out. Okay, I will. I'll check that out in 1 second here. I missed that. Let's take a look. Oh, so it does. Oh, fuck. Oh, beautiful, beautiful. Look at this. That's great. I mean, the detail is just insane, man. Looks like 2 stumps of legs there sticking out of the earth. What a fucking cover. Good call there, Dan. These ones have their backs to me. What's this? Let's just go backwards. So Wolferini. So comic-sized issue of it. Thought the other one. Oh, no, it wasn't. So maybe I'm confused. What was the magazines? Oh, yeah, that's right. That was this one. Okay, so we have seen those. What else? Closing in here, people. Looks like we're at the music portion of our episode. What's that? Oh, man. It was so great going to that record shop. It's been a while since I've been in a real... We have good record shops here. Into the Music is a fantastic place. But as we all know, there's a bonus of going to another city and seeing a shop with completely new stuff. Just making sure I'm not missing anything in here. Packing list. No, that's it. Okay. So, last but not least, Monolith. These babies are edible. Dismal Tide. They will never see us. Beast 4. We will fall. And then some records. Shadow Limb, Mass and Power. Yes. Okay, so Split with I think this is a split with a band called Squalus as well too. So Mass and Power on this side, and then Shadow Limb on this side of the record. Oh, digital download code as well too. Let's put that to the side. Pressing a record is something that the bands and musicians and noise and absurdity is just something we never did. I always kind of regret not doing it. The thing with doing a record that always stuck with me was that in my mind, it had to be something exceptional, because it's not a cheap thing to get a record done. Oof, beautiful looking vinyl there. So we never did it. And within kind of, especially the experimental and like noise genre, it seemed almost to be on top of it like a rite of passage. You'd do a bunch of tapes, you'd do a CD, you'd start to graduate up to doing like maybe a split 7-inch. I think it's probably the same with like the grindcore world and the extreme metal world and things like that, right? It almost feels like a rite of passage before you kind of do your own. You have to start on a split 7-inch for sure. If you're in a grindcore band, that seems to be probably one of the only things you can do, unless your band's like Dahmer or what was it? Shitter, Bathtub Shitter. Or IRF, you know, there was a few bands that ended up doing their own 7 inches, but yeah, vinyl is not something we did. Read your comment in a second there, Dan. It's one of the things I've been wanting to do for a little bit, actually. That's not working, so I'm not going to fight that anymore. It's one of the things I've been wanting to do for a bit is contact and get some more sleeves for my records. Yeah, like this style that's on here, the plastic sealing. It's like the oh fuck yeah. So Shadow Limb Reclaim is this album. This is beautiful, Dan. Is this a newer release? This one's got to be a newer release. I'll show this off in 1 second. Let me get all this stuff out. I love the looks of this. So this is Seeing Red Records. I think that says 2023. That text is really small for my old man eyes. Beautiful, beautiful. 6 tracks. Lyric sheet. Wow, wow. Oh, that's brand spanking new. Nice heavy vinyl as well. Holy Christ. You guys must have a pretty decent hookup to get this stuff pressed. Let's see. Skin was supposed to come out in some anthology, but was once again pulled due to the graphic subject matter. So Tundra finally published it. Whoops, that packing list is from a job. Okay, I will make sure that I pitch it appropriately. So I said it in the note, but the printers butchered the artwork on the Reclaim LP. Oh, shitty. Because it's a bit dark. Is that why? I'm pretty bummed about it. You can see the art if you look at it online, but the record, it printed it way too dark. Yeah, that's our most recent release. It's definitely dark. I thought maybe it had something to do with my lighting in here as well, too. I totally see what you mean. It gives it a moody feel for sure, but I can absolutely see what you mean. I'll make sure that I look online as well, too, to see. I'm sure everything pops and see some more of the details. Beautiful. That is it, ladies and gentlemen. Dan, thank you so much for sending me stuff. Now that I'm home, I do have some work I'm going to be taking care of, but I will send you a list of the doubles that I have to send you off some books as well, too. But like you said, it's the same with me. I don't want to send you stuff that you've already got. So I'll put something together for you and send it off in an email. Dan, you don't have a channel. You were saying that you don't have any links to any of your live shows. Make sure, like Damien said, when you do put something together for YouTube and share some live music, please make sure that you let me know so I can attach the links into future videos, and I'll make sure that I tack it into this. No hookup. We paid for it ourselves, and the pressing factory in Poland took almost a year to press it and then fucked up the art. Jesus Christ. I guess the downside of, I'm assuming that you went to Poland because it was a bit cheaper to put it all together is my guess, right? A couple of Shadowlim videos on YouTube, but not much. Okay. Send me some links, and I'll make sure that I put them in the description. Send me some links through email. Thank you very much, Dan. I've got a lot of stuff to read now. I think I'm probably set for the year between the package I got from you and the package I got from Nate and the stuff I picked up for myself. I'm going to be set for quite a few months. Thank God there's no conventions coming anytime soon that I can try to steer clear of. Everybody, thanks very much for those of you tuned in live. And if you're watching in the future, we'll hopefully see you for a live show again on Sunday with Rasa, and I'll kind of be back into the routine of the Sunday wrap. I've read a shit ton of comics. They're sitting here beside me. So there's a lot of stuff to talk about next Sunday, but I do want to try to save them to sit and talk to Rasa. I put more of a dent in on the stuff that Nate sent me, and I've got to say, this is one of the highlights. There's been many highlights, but wait until you see this and we start talking about this one, Battle Axis. This is issue number 2. There was only 2 issues. This has some really, really interesting art. The teaser on this one is, it feels like the artist has so many different heavy influences that those influences hit each panel. It feels like every single character has a different artistic influence that he's sort of mimicking. It's such a unique book. I think it was black and white as well too, and the first issue might have been color. That really kind of looks like it was colored with a felt marker kind of color, because there is a video up on about Battle Axis number 1 on Bizarre Brain Comics YouTube channel. So if you type in Battle Axis and then Bizarre Brain, you should find the video for that issue number 1. But that's been one of the highlights out of many highlights. So take it easy, everybody, and we'll see you probably next weekend. Signing off with what I didn't realize was a catchphrase, but we'll talk to you.